Okay, so your task today is going to be to produce something similar to what you're seeing on the screen right now. You're going to be exploring additive and subtractive techniques, and altogether you'll look at 8 techniques. These can be manipulated and applied in lots of different ways to a variety of pieces that you can produce in the future. So take this opportunity and prepare your page so that you've got the 8 different techniques visible. Hi! Okay, so what you're going to use today is your air dry clay, and you're going to start off by opening the bag, but make sure that you have a airtight container to put the rest in. So whatever we don't use, we'll put away straight away. As it's air dry clay, as soon as it gets exposed to air, it starts to dry out, starts to become hard, starts to become unworkable. So all I want to do is just open the bag, and then I'm going to take about 2 centimetres off the end. So if you have a ruler that you don't mind getting dirty, or even better, if you have a ruler that you don't mind cleaning afterwards, you can just cut it off like I did, like that. For the rest of it, I'm going to fold up straight away. Put some tape on that. And then I'm going to put it straight in this airtight container. I'm going to press this down. And then put that to one side. So without any air getting to it, it shouldn't dry out. So what I'm going to do with my little chunk is I'm just going to kind of get used to using it today. So the first thing I want to do is knead it. Now as I can feel it in my hands, it's already sticking to my palms, can you see? So I need to make sure that my hands are moist. Now before I did this, I put some hand cream on, so your mum might let you use some first. Or you can just put a bit of water on. So as I'm doing it and my hands start to get covered, I'm just going to put my hands in my water. So my water pot here. It is not a tomato sauce. So I'm just going to keep putting my hands in water. Now I don't want my hands to be wet, I just want them not to dry out. So the first thing I'm going to do is knead it, and by kneading it I expel the air bubbles in the clay, because this can cause my project to crack. So as I'm folding it all together, I'll see air bubbles and just move them around. Okay? So what I want to happen is I create my form today, I keep it moist so that I don't dry it out, and then if I need to work on it in excessing, it is held in an airtight container with a bit of water, or I don't want to work on it in excessing and I just leave it to dry. So once it is dry, I can't work on it anymore. I think that's all we just need to keep in mind. Okay, so once I've kneaded it a little bit and it feels good, I'm going to start to go through my presentation. And so the first thing I'm going to do is divide this into 2. And the piece that I'm not working with, this ruler is dirty, and it's made a dirty mark on that. It's unfortunate. I'm just going to wet it a little bit and put it in a plastic bag. So I'm going to get my thing of water and just put a little bit of water in. I don't need a lot of water, and then I'm going to seal this up. So I'm going to start off by looking at my subtractive techniques. Now as you may have guessed, the subtractive techniques, these first 4 here, are taking away from the surface of the clay. So I'm going to divide this into 2 and then 2 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So with this first one, I'm going to just roll it into a ball, and I'm going to show you carving, and I'm going to show you carving and incising at the same time. So rolling it into a ball, is just creating like a little channel. The difference between that and incising would be incising is just creating a thinner, more precise line. Might be a little bit more shallow. Now if you have some tools, I have some here, you could think about how you'd use those as well. So a thin tool like this, okay, to hollow out is to make a hole in the middle of it. So super easy, you just want the middle not to be there. Let's go all the way through to the table. So you could do it like that, or if you wanted to cut out a spin. The nice thing about this is I can just go in and use my fingernails if I want to. The only thing is it's going to make it a bit messy, isn't it? So I'll need to smooth this all out. But I want to make sure that if I do anything where I've made a hollowed space, that it's finished nicely. You don't want it to feel messy. The next one is a bit of my favourite one, and this is called imprinting. Now this is taking any tools that you have and creating an impression from it. So pushing something into the surface of the clay to create an impression. I'm just going to wet my fingers again so they don't dry out. So I could use this here. I could use the side of it like that. I could use the end of that. I could use this. So that's just using that tool.
I've got different tools so I can see what they do, see how well they work. I can use conventional things that were intended for what I wanted. I could use something unconventional, something that's not an art tool. Sometimes works a little bit better. This one's got a really cool circle on it.
Right, subtractives. Now I'm going to go on to my additives. So I'm going to take this clay out of the aircon tight bag, and I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to divide it into 4. Now if you don't want a dirty ruler on it, you can just use, if your mum and dad let you could use a knife and fork from the kitchen. I'm just going to divide that into 4. So this one I don't need a lot of, so I'm going to divide that one again. And this one's just going to show you what it means to score. So to score is to scratch the surface of the clay. And what that is creating teeth. So these ones now are our additive, and everything that we do pulls back to this idea of scoring. So if I look here, I'm going to create a coil. Now a coil is a rolled ring of clay. So you can either do this in your hands or you can do it on your surface. I've got a piece of plastic here, so that means that it's not going to stick to it. If you're using a table, it might get a bit messy. First thing I want to do is just score that surface, and then I need to create like a glue. So for my glue, it's just water and a brush, and that goes in the middle. And the other way you can do it is if you put what's called slip on. Now slip is just taking a piece of clay and putting that clay into the water, watching it melt down, and then that clay becomes like a liquid, and it's like a liquid glue. Now just wiggle this into place, it catches together, and now that becomes one piece. And what I want to do is use my brush or a different tool just to smooth this out. So I'll go back in with my brush and smooth that in. The idea is that the two different pieces become one piece. So I can get a little bit of my tool and just kind of rough up those surfaces. I want to move one surface into the other surface and then use my brush to blend those together. The other thing I could do
if I get a surface, something like that, clay, making a surface here, I could create like a little curl. So I'll fold over.
and I'll make like a little curl. So I'll put my slip on, roll this, and then I'm putting this over those teeth. I'm wiggling it a little bit so the teeth kind of bite together. So wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. So this is the surface that I'm going to add on to. So a model is just using basically your fingers to pinch a shape, whatever it is. So I could pinch it like this, and the same thing, I need to go back to my scoring. So I score, get some water on my brush.
Slip. And because I'm applying these two together, I'm going to score this one again. Just to make sure that they tie together really well. And then I'll wiggle this into place and then press on. Now these have scored together really well, and it's just smoothing into each other. And then I can build up my models. If I'm just pinching the clay and creating kind of a little form, I can build these up, score, slip, and then my little wiggle, smooth that into each other, score again, take my clay, pinch it, pinch it on the underside, right onto each other, and then use my brush to just blend those in together.
So models a little bit more organic, a little bit more free. If we look at the models that I've added on, here I've made some flowers, so I modelled those flowers on. The last one is slab. So this is where you take your clay, cut something out of the clay and add that shape directly onto it. So I'll take my clay and make a little surface. I want a solid shape adding onto it. So I'm going to cut out
with this a little diamond shape. So this is the diamond that I want. This is my diamond and I want this diamond on my leg. So I need to score it. Score the place it's going to go. Put in the water, add my slip. Add my slip. And then
I'm going to wiggle the two on top of each other. Okay? I need to do the same again, just put the surfaces into each other. Okay, so by this point you should have all your clay techniques and an understanding of how to add to the clay and take away from it, how to manipulate the clay to do what you want. So hopefully you have this image in front of you or something very similar to it. Please take a photograph of this and upload it to the classroom. Looking forward to seeing them.